Hey guys, it's Jordana from Pretty Killer Podcast. Welcome to Women in Horror with horror miser Monty G.
Y'all ready for this? Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the horror miser Monty G. Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the horror miser Monty G. Welcome once again to an episode of one of my favorite series. It is Women in Horror, and I have a banger. She is new to the horror community. She is my good friend Jordana from Pretty Killer Podcast. Say hello to my subscribers.
Hello guys. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
Yeah. So I want to thank Jordana for coming on. We've been conversing back and forth on Instagram. I actually caught her podcast and her YouTube channel a few weeks ago, and I says, "Wow, she's got to be on Women in Horror." So I reached out, and here we are right now.
Yes.
So just to give a little brief example, what is Pretty Killer Podcast?
So Pretty Killer Podcast is just a mixed bag of anything and everything horror. I didn't really want to confine it to one thing. So I just wanted it to be let's just talk everything and anything horror.
Mhm.
And
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted, and also I wanted to make it like two friends or, a group of friends having a conversation. I wanted it to feel like you're just sitting around having a cup of coffee, an alcoholic beverage if you drink, and enjoying yourself and having conversations.
I see. All right. Now, obviously, one of the first questions I always ask when I do this interview is because you know how it is. Girls, horror, that don't mix together. It's like, no. So how did a lovely woman like you get into something that's obviously not made for girls or women? So how did you get into horror?
Well, I got into it at a pretty young age. I was born in Orlando, and my mom worked at Disney, and so did my dad. But we would go to
Ooh.
yes, I was very lucky when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was pretty spoiled in that regard, but we would go all the time, and I'd always want to ride the Haunted Mansion. I was
Mhm.
obsessed with the Haunted Mansion. So that love for spooky things came from that. And then we kind of migrated to Universal, and that's where I got Universal Monsters and Jaws, Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, all that stuff, like gateway horror,
Mhm.
Jaws, even. And that's where my love for it started.
Oh, okay. It's fascinating because obviously with me, obviously it was also Universal Monsters. That's why I
Yes.
got started. The first Universal was I saw the Mummy. Then eventually I saw Dracula, the Wolfman, saw all the Universal Monsters. As a baby boomer growing up in the 70s, I consider myself, most people consider myself lucky because I got to see The Exorcist when it first came out to theaters.
So
Don't
jealous.
ask me why my mother took me and my brother to go see Jaws when it first came out in the theaters. So I can attest to, yes, the movies was crowded. When it came to Exodus, yes, people ran out. They
Yes.
threw up because you never saw anything like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's just fascinating to me when, growing up at that age, and then also just like the fact that you were young when you first started out and seeing horror films. It's the same thing with me. I think with most of the people I've interviewed, most of the women I've interviewed since doing this series, it always starts up when they were young. I mean,
Mhm.
why do you think? Because you would think that even girls would not gravitate toward horror because it's. Why do you think Why do you think you gravitated to it?
I think it was just maybe I don't know. I kind of equated it to I was a weird kid. I just like weird things. I don't know. I didn't really get into I loved Disney cartoons, but
Mhm.
just things that were a little bit on the dark side and the not normal just appealed to me. I don't know if it was I truly don't know what it was, but it's always been a part of me. My grandparents had the Disney book, and I'd always run back and I'd open it. It would be the Hall of Presidents, and then I'd go into the Haunted Mansion. I'd just sit there and I'd read all about it.
Mhm.
I read Nancy Drew.
Oh.
So I think that that kind of amplified my like for spooky, mysterious things.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason because some of the books I read when I was little, it was Danny Dunn,
Hmm.
the three investigators, and then and they eventually threw Alfred Hitchcock. It was Alfred Hitchcock and the three investigators. Obviously, read the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew.
Hmm.
All the mystery because I was weird. I was a weird kid too.
Yeah.
I wind up I had a morbid sense of humor. I mean, as much as I did like cartoons, but I just gravitated toward horror because for some reason I knew it wasn't real. I knew there was
Hmm.
no such thing as werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein's monsters, witches, and stuff like that. So I knew it wasn't real. But I just gravitated to it because, for some reason, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. It was like, what really stood out to me? The one thing was Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice. Like, I
Uh-huh.
remember I got a TV in my room and I got a VCR, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to go to the local video store, right? I'm aging
Mhm.
myself. I'm going to go rent a VHS. And I put
Don't
on
forget,
Beetle.
I come from that generation too.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. But like, I just remember watching Lydia Dietz, and she was just kept talking about how she was strange and unusual. And it felt like me. I felt like she was speaking to me, and I'm like, that's me. Like I'm
Mhm.
strange and I'm unusual. So it felt like, I guess, comforting. Maybe that's why I clung on to it so early on, and then I got into like, Halloween and Friday the
Mhm.
13th, and then we
Right,
go,
the 13th.
yeah, down the darker paths where you see other things that you've never seen.
Uh-huh. Okay, did you ever hear about the organization called Women for Horror?
So I've heard it, but I don't know too much about it. I should, because I am a woman in horror, but
Mhm.
I I just,
Yeah, it actually started out as a grassroots operation, I believe maybe during the pandemic or after the pandemic, because I just heard of I just happened to catch wind of it. And
mhm,
I thought it was a very fascinating organization because, without women, we wouldn't have the type of horror films that we have right now because they played such an important part of it. I
yeah,
mean, put it this way, one of the first novels, Mary Shelley,
mhm,
Frankenstein,
yeah,
it was created by a woman.
and I love it. It's so
I know,
it's
yeah. So if she didn't write that novel, we wouldn't probably be have a Frankenstein or Frankenstein monster when it comes to horror.
yeah, and
You
it's
know.
crazy to think that because he's such a like he Frankenstein is such a pillar. Like I
Mm,
think back to like, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Psycho as pillars of horror, but you really have to truly go back to the Universal monsters because that's where it kind of started. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Because to me, it was like it was Universal monsters, and of course you have Hammer horror
Yeah.
with the Dracula horror series. So that's what led to even for me to become more ingratiated with horror because I enjoyed the late great Christopher Lee and all of
Hmm.
the Dracula films that he appeared into it. So
Yep.
that's how I really gravitated to horror between watching Universal monsters and Hammer horror.
I love that. It's just such a gateway. Like you
Mm.
watch it and you're just like, where can I find more of this? Like I need
Mhm.
it.
Oh,
You
yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. It's like, I need more. I need more. Give me more
Yes.
Dracula.
Yes.
Give me more werewolves.
Who was your favorite Universal monster?
Ah, Dracula.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. It's as much as I enjoy Bela Lugosi and his performance as Dracula, I will always truly love Christopher Lee and what he did. I think he made the role popular, but you can't take anything away what Bela Lugosi did with Dracula. He made it famous,
Yes.
but Christopher Lee made it popular.
And I love
I
that
think that
because yep.
yeah, because if he made Dracula become a pop icon, pop icon,
Yeah,
with his portrayal of Dracula. Uh,
absolutely.
okay, let's see. What are your thoughts about how women have been treated in horror films?
So my stance is, and here's the thing. So I love Terrifier.
Mm,
I love when I watched it back in like 2016 or whenever it came out. I remember seeing it and I was like, wow, this looks creepy. And then I watched the movie and not to spoil anything if anyone hasn't seen it, but we know the one scene in the first one where,
hmm
it was pretty split down the
Really
middle.
gnarly.
Yeah. And people were outraged with it and they're like, it's anti-female, it's anti, this is very misogynistic. And I'm like, but horror has always truly been like that. Like think of the 70s and the eight, well, not so much the 70s, but the 80s. Like we got the slashers and we had this like this plethora of like boobs and grotesque and
Yeah, talk about that too. Yes.
you know what I mean? So I
Yes.
feel like I don't know, maybe we're just not at the point where women wanted to create like female antagonists and
Mm.
just, it's like women are easier to be, quote unquote victims in the movies, but um I don't know. I just feel like we need to have more like stronger female characters. You know what I mean? Like I think that to counteract that part of it, I feel like we need more strong female characters, and we've seen them in the later years of horror, but I don't know. We're always a final girl. We're always this and that, but why can't we have a female slasher? Why can't we have a female iconic slasher? Like
Mhm.
you have Michael Myers and Jason. Let's get a female in there. Let's have
Yeah,
her
that's
tear
one
some stuff up.
yeah, that's one of the things because I'm part of this, monthly show. I don't know if you heard of the Horror Hangout live stream, and
Yes.
one of the things that we talked about, because I brought this up, is that how come we don't have a popular female villain? Not
Mhm.
like the final girl, but someone, a female that's on the same verge as Freddy, Jason, or Michael.
Thank
How
you.
come we don't have that?
We need
That's
that.
something that I think horror would need. Because
Mhm.
when you look, because one of the things I always give examples of when I ask this question is look at King Kong from 1939, Fay Ray, as
Yep.
opposed to the Peter Jackson's King Kong with Naomi Watts. They're kind of the same character, but Naomi Watts, her version is a much more stronger, capable woman, as opposed to Fay Ray, who screamed and looked pretty and screamed and looked pretty, and Kong would
Oh,
chase after
yeah,
her.
yeah, exactly. That's a great example. That's a perfect example actually, because it's like the damsel in distress to the
Mm,
powerful woman. And I
mhm,
like the evolution of it, but I can't really I know it sounds horrible, but I can't really complain about what the 80s gave us because I love it. Like I love the
mhm,
80s era because I love a good cheesy slasher with
mhm,
boobs and, cool
mm.
death scenes and stuff like that. So I think if we keep pushing for it, I think we'll eventually see a really strong female icon. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, yeah. I think we will see finally get a chance. It depends upon who writes it, who directs it, but I think we'll finally see because we've had female antagonists in horror
Mhm.
films before, whether it was Mrs. Voorhees in the first Friday the 13th, Annie Wilkes in Misery. Then
Yep.
we've had, but it's very, very few. I mean, um, Rebecca Gayheart in the first Urban Legends film.
Yes, I loved
So
her so
we've
much.
had them.
Mrs.
We've had them,
Loomis.
but no, yeah, Loomis and Scream too.
Yep.
It's like they're there. It's just that we haven't had a female who's on the same verge of Freddie, Jason, or Michael.
Yes.
Someone who could at least, if not get up to them, but could knock like either Ghostface or Chucky off.
I would love it. I'd love to see someone like just like a very feminine slasher. Like
Mhm,
I don't know, like Rebecca Garrett, but then I want to see a female slasher like a Jason that I want to see
mhm.
just like, greasy hair, big stature, good build. Like I just want all of it. And I feel like now would be the time to do it.
Okay, I'll see if I can answer this question a different way then. How do you feel how women were used in horror films, from the damsel in distress to certain tropes like the wild, crazy girl?
So I feel like it just kind of like it goes hand in hand with horror. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
we always have to have like that one damsel in distress, the one,
mhm,
like the eye candy in a sense, then you have the final girl. It's just like a formula that I feel like was used for so long. And if what's the saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I think people
mhm,
just kind of ran with, you know, we're gonna have a brunette be the final girl, and then we'll have all the other girls be skinny, big boobed, blonde hair, whatever. And
mhm,
to me, it's entertainment. Like I don't ever think of a woman and be like, oh well, she looks like this, so she has to be the damsel. But like for entertainment purposes, it works. It kind of works in stories.
mm.
So I don't know. But the female characters, they're kind of switching in modern horror, and we're getting, different takes on female characters and kind of flipping the script. So the evolution of it, I'm here for, but Um, I don't really truly get upset about how females were perceived in the past.
I see. Yeah, because my next question is going to be, how do you feel about the evolution of the final girl trope in horror films? Because I believe we've seen a lot of differences as opposed between Laurie Strode's all the way up to Melissa Barrero's character.
Yes. I
uh-huh.
kind of I kind of like how the final girl, a good example that I always like to use is Sienna Shaw in Terrifier 2.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? Like she's the final girl that we needed. And to say that, like I'm happy for Terrifier 2 because we got another horror icon, Art the Clown,
Hmm.
but we also got Sienna Shaw. And I think that speaks volumes for the impact that it had on the horror community. But what I truly loved about Sienna was, instead of making her like this picturesque, like kind of perfect girl that embodies like these strong characteristics,
Hmm.
that it touched on like mental health and that it's
Yes.
normal to have, you know, um, trials and tribulations with your mental health. The same with Harper from Haunt. You know what I mean? Like they kind of
Hmm.
built this strong female character, but from a broken home, and
Hmm.
seeing that kind of was amazing to see because it's relatable. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of people, females and males, that can relate to a broken home and what that can cause. So um, I think we're just gonna get stronger and stronger in the female final girl lead. And again, I'm here for it. I'm here to
Yeah.
see
Yes.
different takes of it.
Yeah, because it amazes me how we've seen the final girls from all the from even from Olivia Hussey from the original Black Christmas and Laurie Strode, then obviously all the final girls from the Friday the 13th films,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
Nancy from A Nightmare on Elm Street. And then all of a sudden, things kind of changed when Sidney Prescott came out. And the final girl was a bit different. She's no longer tripping, falling down, or winning by accident. She was smart.
Mhm.
She used her resources. She wasn't dumb. She didn't make stupid decisions. So I think that's what I really enjoy about the evolutions of the final girl.
Absolutely. And it's cool to see Sydney Prescott, back for Scream 7. And it doesn't
Mm,
matter like where you fall with like if you're happy that another Scream's coming out, but I just feel like it kind of shows the test of time. Like she really broke the mold. And I was gonna bring up Sydney because I loved her when I first saw her
mm,
in Scream. I'm like, man, I want to be a final girl. Like I want to be strong like her.
mm.
I loved
Oh
it.
yeah, she definitely kind of changed the mold when it came to the final girl. She wasn't stupid. She knew what
Hmm.
to do.
Yep.
When it came to killing the person, bam, shoot him in the head.
Yeah. No questions asked. Done.
No question asked. Boom, dead.
Yeah, so because I feel like that's how I would be. Like I watch these movies, and like I said earlier, so I don't want to contradict myself. I love watching those movies, but in the '80s, it was very much like, don't go back in the house, don't do this, and it was like stupid decisions. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? But like now, I feel like using your head is the way to do it. Like just sit and think for a second.
Yeah, because I think when it comes to filmmakers, especially for horror filmmakers, they realize that the fact is we have to change uh not just women, but just horror films in general, where people are not making stupid mistakes because our audience is getting tired of that.
Yeah.
It was okay because that was the norm for slasher films during the 80s. But
Yep.
now it's like, oh, we got to make a change now. Screen kind of changed everything, so we got to make it so the people are not making stupid mistakes. Although, unfortunately, the last, I know what you did last summer. Unfortunately, reverted back to people making stupid mistakes.
See, and you know how we were talking earlier before we recorded? That's
Yeah.
one I haven't watched yet. I haven't watched the new. I know what you did
Oh,
last summer.
okay. I won't spoil that one then.
No, but I'm glad that you said that because I didn't feel like it needed to be done. I was like kind of on the fence where I wish they kind of would have just left. I know what you did
Well,
last summer alone.
it's like this, and not to get off hot topic, but the problem is that Hollywood right now, the filmmakers are too scared to make anything original because anything original does not make money. They have
Hmm.
their IPs. The IPs make money. They still think that they can, it's like so many long ago when I Still Know What You Did Last Summer came out. I won't even talk about I Still Know that third film because that was just totally ridiculous. So
No.
they felt as though, hey, look, it worked for Halloween. So let's go on ahead. Let's see if we can get I Know What You Did Last Summer to come out. So that's what Hollywood does. It's a trending business, as most people say. Whatever the rich trend is, it's like, okay, it worked for Scream, it worked for Halloween. So let's
Yep.
see if we can get another bite out of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes. And I get it completely, but I'm just craving something original. I think a lot of people are. Just something new would be
I
nice,
mean,
but
yes, if you do something good, like Sinners was, you do something good, original, and if it's written well, if it's directed well, it's acted well, it's going to work. And
exactly.
Sinners is proof is that if you do something original, then you have a good director by Ryan Gosling, you have great actor in Michael B. Jordan, you have a
Mhm.
decent script, you have good acting, and your film's going to make money because that's what a lot of people like to see, a lot of originality. But
Absolutely.
like I said, the filmmakers, it's more of the movie studios, not the filmmakers, more the movie studios. They're just too scared to come up with
Mhm.
anything original.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it didn't surprise me that they were making another. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes. I'll catch it on streaming and then I'll message you and be like, "Oh, okay, I see what you're saying."
Now comes the question that we're about to talk about. How do you feel? Do you feel that women were disrespected and objectified during the early slasher films with the 80s of all that gratuitous nudity that we saw? It looks like we couldn't go a slasher film without seeing boobs, butts, sometimes full frontal nudity. It's like we
Yep.
couldn't go about it. So, do you think that women were disrespected or objectified with all that gratuitous nudity that we saw?
1,000%. A
Hmm.
1,000%. And so to my point earlier, like as a viewer and like and not in that mind frame of like, being older and wiser,
Hmm.
that's I loved the 80s, but now, yeah, of course, women were completely objectified. And we kind of saw the script flip with uh the remake of the Slumber Party Massacre.
Hmm.
We had a female director and she did the long shots of like a guy in the shower with the butt shot. You know what I mean? Like just
Hmm.
flipping the
Yeah.
script and
Uh,
doing it to a guy. And I think that we're more aware now of, how to present a woman, because we're not all here for just looks. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
there's more to people. And yeah, I totally feel like they were objectified and used in that way in the 80s, but thankfully we kind of homed in on that and used different ways and different methods to kind of steer clear of that. So,
Yeah, that was something. Yeah, but I think they've got more respectable when it comes to women in horror films. Uh,
1,000%.
I like the fact they actually tried to change the script up when it comes to same-sex couples and trans people with the horror film they slash them.
Yep.
It was just executed wrong, but I like the attempt. Mm,
Yes. And at least the attempt was there, right?
yeah, the
Like
attempt was there.
it didn't hit, but at least we're kind of like hip to it and we're trying to get better at it. So that's a shift in a positive direction, right? As long as there's some movement, then we're doing something right. So,
Yeah, it's like this. I know you're still going to see nudity in films because depending upon the film, you're going to see it.
mhm.
Just like there was nudity in Together, but it was part of the script, so I know, so I had no problem with it. But
Yes.
just the gratuitous nudity, come on, guys.
Well, I heard, I haven't seen it yet, but of course,
Uh,
like we want to talk spoilers, but the 28 years later, and then the zombie,
oh yeah,
then that's all I've heard about. Like I did hear in the beginning that it was good, but literally when it came out, all I heard about was this huge zombie, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, well at least males are in the spotlight now. Like at least they'll have time to shine.
Okay, now, do you think who do you think can actually do a thing about SA or rape and films? Do you think a male director can do them more faithfully, or do you think a female can do that more faithfully when it comes to SA or rape and films and horror?
I that's kind of, it's tough. It's tough to say because for me, I think that um whoever is in control of that
Mm,
scene, like that is dealing with a movie that has SA or rape in it, I think that they have to kind of go in with an understanding of what message they're trying to convey. You know what I mean? Because whether you're a male or female, if it's like an extended one, like I haven't seen it, but Irreversible, I've heard.
irreversible. Oh yeah, that's very brutal.
But I heard that, like you watch it because,
Yeah.
and the things that happen after. And I totally understand that. But I just feel like you have to kind of gauge how you're going to do that. And I think a male or a woman could do it because females aren't the only ones that get SA'd or get raped because males do
Hmm.
too. But I feel like it's more, predominantly women. So I understand like how taboo it could be for a male to do an SA scene or for like a rape scene. Um,
Hmm.
I just think whoever does it needs to kind of do it in a tactful way and giving some sort of message, not just to put it in there for the fun of it or just for like entertainment purposes, because that's pretty triggering for some people.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I had the same question with Lisa from Lisa Loves, and
Hmm.
she said one of the things that she said was because that yes, that scene in reverse was very brutal, but I think the reason why they did it was because they wanted to show the reason why the protagonist did his revenge because it's shot in reverse order.
Yes.
So when that scene comes up at the end of the movie, you can see why he was so pissed off, at
Exactly.
them. Yeah, so that's the reason why. So he wanted to show that brutality, and I get it. It's like I said, it's very still brutal scene
Yeah.
that you have to go through. But they said he wanted to explore that because he said, "Look, I want to show the reason why that guy went after them because of what they did to his friend."
Exactly. So I
Mm,
think I think that it's just kind of like on how you execute it, whether you be a male or female, just have some backing to it, like substance of why you're going to do it.
mm,
Because I know that there are some horror movies that they just throw that type of stuff in there to make it like edgy or to like add some sort of thing to it. But
mm.
I tend to like SA in particular, like I try to stay away from that just because that's not entertaining to me. And I know that sounds like a horrible statement, but like if I'm gonna go
Oh
watch
no, no,
something,
it's like if if that's horrible to you, you don't watch stuff that you think is horrible. But it's just like a suburban film. It's like that what happens at the end of that particular film that was very brutal. And it's like this. It's like ooh, God, I almost had to turn away from it because of what was
yes,
happening to the scene because that was very brutal.
yeah,
Because it's like this when I whether it's the original I Spit on Your Grave or the remake I Spit on Your Grave, especially the remake where
hmm,
the character Sarah Butler, who plays the character, and she's
yeah,
practically nude for at least almost a good 20 minutes during the scene. And
yes,
I really had to give her credit because she was, she's in the woods, she's butt naked, and I'm pretty sure it was not warm out there, and I'm
no,
pretty sure it wasn't warm out there. And I give her credit for doing that scene, but
yeah,
the revenge part was even I say it was more brutal than the original film.
it was that the remake was so brutal, and I was just
Mm,
because I was kind of thinking like, how are you gonna modernize this? Because the original scared me for the longest time. I'd go into the video store and I would
mhm,
see just like this the cover with the tattered backside of her with
yeah,
the knife and I'm like, is this a real life video? Like I was terrified,
mhm,
that it was like some sort of snuff type of film. But watching the remake, I'm like, wow, they actually did it in an entertaining way and also
mhm.
like upped the ante if that's possible.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I mean,
you
the
know,
fact that, she really gets her revenge
it
on those
does.
the fact that, well, they deserved it. I mean, it's like, yeah,
It's true. It is.
they deserved it, but it's like, I like, "Ooh, man, ooh,
It's
ooh,
like, okay, okay. I know.
that's a
I
ooh, ooh, boy."
had to cover
She
my
ain't
eyes a
playing
couple times.
around.
Yes, I know. I was like, oh my God. But I guess that's warranted. I'd feel the same way. I'd want to
Mhm.
exact revenge and
Oh yeah, because I was saying to myself, "Hey, look, if you were just a nice girl, just minding her own business, just trying to do some work, and all of a sudden these dudes just do that to you, and I can imagine any woman would respond in that way, and that's
right.
what she did." Hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, do you think women directors of horror film are finally getting the respect that they deserve?
Oh my God, 1,000%. Like the substance, I feel like it's this like resurgence, you know what I mean? And just showing that women can definitely take the reign of a director and they can make a badass movie and have it be successful. I just think in the industry, it just seemed like it was a very male led industry, and we had like
Hmm.
Harvey Weinstein and that whole,
Yeah, that whole mess.
or a
I
movie, and I feel like
Yeah, because for me, it's sad because when you look at the original Pet Cemetery, Mary Lambert did a fantastic job in directing that film,
mhm,
but her name is not even in the credits. When you look at Pet Cemetery, the only thing you see is Stephen King,
I
and that's it. You don't
I
see Mary's
know.
name anywhere. I say, wait a minute, she did direct the film, and she did a pretty good job. Give the woman some credit.
She needs a lot of credit because that movie was super impactful in
Mm,
the horror realm and beautifully done. But I get what you're saying. It's like, oh, you couldn't even be so bothered to put her name on there. Like,
mm.
okay, because a director's a pretty important part.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this, put her name on the screen and say, we don't need to see, we know why we need to see Stephen King's name and we see the cat, but,
Yeah,
put her name on there, directed by Mary Lambert. She deserves as much credit as Stephen King, who wrote the novel.
1000%. I hope we see more female directors and female led movies. And to be quite honest, being in the horror community, the amount of time, and I say this, the horror community, the amount of time that I've been online, because I've always been a horror fan. And I've always
Hmm.
had like my own sense of like the horror realm and being in a community, even though I didn't really know that there was one. I think that it's empowering to see that. And it makes me want to maybe, to dip my toes in that water and try to write a movie, direct one, just be a part of it because females have good visions,
Well,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good female. I mean, put it this way, I think Malignant was written by a woman. I can't remember her name.
I think you're right too. And I love that. I think,
Hmm.
I think people underestimate a woman's mind and think that it's just, this and this and this. But I'm telling you, I have so many kill scenes in my head. I have so many stories, like twisted things in my head. I would just love to see projected out of my brain.
Yeah.
Um, and I have a feeling other women feel that way. So
Yeah, because I think when it comes to trying to write and create a horror film, I think most people don't think a woman can actually go there and create a decent horror film where
mhm.
you have suspense tension, killing people, maiming people, having building characters. And I think that most people don't believe a woman can create something like that, but given the opportunity, given the chance, they can.
Exactly. It's like newsflash, women can do the same thing
Hmm.
as a man, and not saying that a woman can do it better, you know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
I know like the industry is like a competitive industry, but I feel like can't we just have a space to create all together? Like doesn't matter if you're male, female,
Hmm.
nothing. If you choose to, to be just, yourself, I think that it shouldn't be, male, female. It should be we all collectively want the horror community to thrive and we want more stuff and new ideas. So let's make it a group effort.
Yes, yes. Okay, so what led you to create the Pretty Killer podcast?
Well, to put it plainly, my husband was sick of me during the pandemic. Talked to him about why do you think Michael Myers decided to go to the hospital, and
Hmm.
follow, just me talking to him about horror. And he's like, yeah, maybe. And I just thought to myself, I should just create a podcast and I can talk about horror and I can meet new people and they can come on and talk. And I thought that a podcast was easy and it's not at all. I'm like, oh, it's just talking. I can do that. No, there's a lot of other things that go with it, but I'm happy I made the decision to do it when I did. And I'm happy where Pretty Killer Podcast is now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You do a fine, good job. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of find it fascinating because um because growing up in my neighborhood, at especially the time there was no social media, there was no internet, there's no
Mhm.
none of this stuff like here, and most of my friends thought I was weird, I was crazy. Monty, why do you like that horror shit? You're weird, you're crazy. And
Yep.
so when YouTube came out, and eventually I saw all the horror channels, and I
Mhm.
was like, wow, these people love horror just like I do. So I eventually created my YouTube channel,
I
and
love
now
that.
I'm part of a horror community, and with who people who love and enjoy horror much as much as I do. I'll get that
Yes.
right.
I love that you say that too, because that's how my friends were. They all wanted to
Mm.
go see like Titanic, and I'm like, can we go see Halloween H2O? Like it literally just came out. And they're just, it was like 7 against 1, and they're just like, no. And I'm like, okay,
Uh,
well,
uh.
I'm gonna go see it. You guys can go watch Titanic.
Yeah, because it's like this when Titanic first came out. A lot of people ask me, "Want to go see it?" I says, "Why want to see something? I already know what's going to happen. You know,
Exactly.
I already know the ship's. If they're going to have a nice, you're going to see a fake, a romance that's not true,
Yep.
and the ship crashes in an iceberg and people die."
And we created a monster with Celine Dion with My Heart Will Go On. So
Yeah,
exactly.
that was the only good thing about that movie. No, I know. So, Titanic was a pretty good movie. I give James Cameron credit. They did a fantastic job. I
Yes.
love the effects in the film. I love the
Yes.
effects in the film, and it was a good movie.
It was.
But
But
I'd rather see a horror film.
I was gonna say I wanted to be seated at Halloween, and then we got The Faculty, and then Scream 3 or Scream
Mm,
2, and I was just like, oh, I'm so excited. And
mm,
I just ran with that. I'd have scream parties at my house, and we play ghosts in the graveyard, but we wear the ghost face mask. So
uh,
when it would be dusk, like someone would pop around the corner and we'd see ghost face. It was so much fun. I loved it.
all right, who is your favorite final girl and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I
Mhm,
really I feel like my love for Sienna has grown significantly.
mhm,
Um, I just again, I love the embodiment of someone who's not perfection,
mhm.
but she finds like inner strength. She finds inner strength for her family. I just love what she embodies. And e- the angel outfit. You know what I mean? Like, come
Oh
on,
yeah,
like
the
it's
angel outfit. Yeah,
so
that's
iconic.
I think that's one of the things I liked about her was because she was a very I like what I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. The guy who wrote Terrifier. It'll
Uh,
come to me.
Damien Leone.
Yeah, I like what Damien only did when he created her because he said he made the mistake in the original Terrifier by not giving that the final girl of that film enough character depth. So
Yeah.
that's why he created Sierra whatchamacallit, he created her.
Hmm.
So but now she's become a horror icon in her own right. And I like what she did for her because she's not perfect.
Yep.
She's very attractive, but she's flawed. But she makes the smart decisions and she's very brave. One of the first people I've seen that's brave enough to go up against Art the Clown.
Exactly. And I think that's such a really good example for young girls,
Hmm.
especially like growing up now in this age and seeing a female as strong as Sienna, but knowing that she didn't come from a cookie cutter family. She doesn't
Hmm.
have like a mom and dad, and it's, this perfect white picket fence. It's like her mom's struggling, her brother's kind of weird,
Hmm.
but she does these things for her family. And but to my point of strong females, I really enjoyed Sydney, but I think my favorite variation of Sydney was in 3 because
Yeah.
like you said earlier, she's very strong. She made smart decisions. You see a vulnerable side of her in 3. Like you
Yes.
see her cry, you see her
Hmm.
show emotion that she's scared. And I loved the honesty, and I love that
Hmm.
Wes did that and created her as this tough, badass chick. And then you see her in like the last act of 3, and she
Hmm.
breaks down. And every time I watch it, I get emotional when she gets upset, because it's just like,
Yeah, because when she finds out it's Rowan, and she's like, and all of a sudden she's instead of her being sad, she gets angry. It's like what? All this
even more
because of
angry.
you?
Yes.
Because you're pissed off because you didn't get the life because we have the same mother.
Yes.
Fuck you, fuck it.
I love it. I love that whole end scene. And I don't care what anyone says. I think Roman is one of the best Ghostface, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, it's another conversation. All right. My last question is going to be: if you were to create a horror film, what type of horror film would it be, and what type of subgenre of horror would it be tied to?
Okay. So I feel like I already would love to do a slasher. I
Hmm.
already have ideas for a slasher. They might be happening. They might be,
Hmm.
something might be cooking up. So I would definitely love to tackle the slasher genre, but I also love body horror. I'm
Hmm.
really digging the body horror that's been coming out. So I feel like I might do like a paranormal body horror season of the witch type movie.
Mhm.
Very much so. I have crazy ideas, and I'd love to do all of them.
Oh, yes, yes. You have to have one thing. Yeah, I always tell people you have to have a vivid imagination when it comes to writing anything, but especially writing horror, because you
Yes.
definitely you want to create a very interesting killer. You want to make very interesting characters. You want to have a great place you want to have it set in. Depending on how you want to set it in. Are the people related? What's the reason why the killer's after them, or why the reason why the kids are going there? You know,
Yeah.
you have to get all that straightened out in order to make an effective horror film. And I think that if getting in the right circumstances, I believe you or any other woman is capable of doing that.
Well, I appreciate that, and absolutely, you're not wrong, and I hope that motivates women to keep creating or be more creative and put your ideas out there.
Mm.
We need it.
Well, Jordana, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you. If you have not subscribed or listened to the Pretty Killer podcast, I'm gonna leave a link to her channels and podcast description in the description below. And
Thank
of
you.
course, if you have an outro, Jordana, please go ahead and say it.
What's that? If I
Outro. You have an outro.
Oh, well, I just want to thank you, sir, for having me on. This was a pleasure to come on and chat with you. I'd love to come on and talk about subgenres and other things. And to everyone listening, check out Pretty Killer Podcast. Come and let's have conversations. Let's chat.
And once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Money G. And always remember, horror rules. And I'll see you in my next video. That guy, stay safe out there.